interesting. I didn't know that you could still play music on your phone while you're going live on Facebook. Is it me, or does, anybody else feel awkward when you first go live and it's just you talking to yourself in the camera? Or is that just me? Oh, so we have 2 viewers. Black Power, everybody. Please comment, I guess, so I can know who y'all are, because it's not telling me. But what is this? What is this set giving? It feels like, come into my office, please. Please step into my office. What's going on? If y'all watching me right now, just playing in my head, I don't know if it's because the live is taking a little second to let me know who's on. But let's see, can you comment? Black Power to my 1 viewer. Well, to my 2 viewers. Welcome to the Revolutionary Book Club. I'm going to give it a little moment to get some more viewers in. Black Power, Ghazi. So we can get this party started. Please like and share, y'all. Please like and share. Coming to my office. I'm in my office right now. Sipping a little tea, But what is it giving? What book? You mean this book? Happy Sunday, y'all. Happy Black Power Sunday. So let's see, what time is it now? It's 11:03. Oh. I'm not, well, yeah, I can hold it right here, but I'm going to have to go through it so people not going to really be able to see it. Black Power, y'all. Please share, share, share. Let's get this viewership up, y'all. Black Power, Naya. We're going to give it to 11:00. Wait, what time is it? 11:03, so 11:05. We're going to get this thing started. While y'all in here, I came home to visit for my birthday. My birthday was this past Thursday. And so while I was here, I was just going through some of my old books that I got, and I wanted to show y'all. So a lot of these books I got from Barnes & Noble or whatever. And I don't know, like, from the ages of like 14 to 15, I was just like on this buying book craze. Like, I was buying books like crazy. And so I just want to show y'all some of those books. So remember, I told y'all that I'm a big fan of nonfiction or whatever. So this is one of the books in the series of The Secrets of the Immortal Nicholas Flamel. I'm not sure if y'all heard of, this is written by Michael Scott, but I'm not sure if y'all heard about this series, but it was really, 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 really good. And this is like the 3rd book in the series, so I got all of them really. And this was kind of like, damn, I really bought this at the age of 15. And y'all, how I have my books, like my mom has them set up in my room right here next to me on the dresser. But this, y'all, look what I was reading. Just look at what I was reading. And I think I got I think I got this book at like 15, y'all. New gay erotica. This is what I was reading. And then on top of that, I also I also got this book too. What is it? Homosexuality and Civilization. I was on some other shit, y'all. Like, I was on some other stuff. But that's just, just showing y'all what I was reading back then in those days or whatever. But we can go ahead and get started. I see we got some viewers, but please, 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 please share, y'all, so everybody can partake in this revolutionary political book club education. I know I just made that up, but it's cool, okay? So I'm going to officially welcome y'all to the Black Power Revolutionary Book Club with your boy, Chief Dia. How y'all doing? I hope y'all are doing okay this morning. Thank you so much for sharing, comrade Naya. Y'all comrades, please make sure y'all share. All right? So, I know I've been telling y'all about the book giveaway that we're going to be doing, and that is the giveaway of the Assata Autobiography. So, I changed the rules, okay? Because last time it wasn't really, something that we could hold accountable. So, this is what we're going to do now, okay? So, I'm going to ask 3 questions starting today. And over the next 2 sessions, I'm going to ask the other 2. And so what you have to do is you're going to have to email your answer to blackhammerorg@gmail.com, okay? And then you also have had to donate it at least 1 time to the Black Hammer Book Club. And speaking of which, let me put that link in here. I thought my comrade Gigi had my back, girl, but I don't know where she at. So let's see here. I'm gonna just grab it, y'all. It's just easier for me to type. I know my face big. Don't get scared away, okay? Please don't. Let's see. And that is BH Book Club and Blackhammer.org and GoFundMe.com/BlackhammerOrg. Let me pin that real quick. Alrighty. So there are all the links. As you all know, the Black Hammer Book Club serves as a fundraiser for Black Hammer. So please go and donate at CashApp. You can donate at, the CashApp is BHBookclub. You can also donate at blackhammer.org, and you can also donate at gofundme.com/blackhammerorg. All right, so back to the book giveaway, okay? So I'm asking the first question today, and then the next 2, the next 2 sessions, I'll give the next 2 questions. So it's gonna be 2 questions pertaining to the book, and then just one random question, okay? So the first question that I'm going to ask right now, let me find it. So y'all know, like, okay, here it is. Now, on December 11th, 1978, attorney, y'all. Lennox Hines, on behalf of the National Conference of Black Lawyers, the National Alliance Against Racism, and the Commission for Racial Justice of the United Church of Christ, sent a petition to the United Nations Commission on Human Rights alleging a consistent pattern of gross violation of human rights and fundamental freedoms of certain classes of prisoners in the United States because of their race, economic status, and political beliefs. In response to the petition, 7 international jurors visited a number of prisoners on August, you got to give me the dates, okay? Now, if you've been keeping up, if you've been reading, you should know. So send your answer to blackhammer.org@gmail.com, and I'll be checking, okay? So let's go ahead and get started. As you all know, this is the second episode of the Revolutionary Book Club. So now we are on chapters 4 through 6. So starting with chapter 4, and even before I get into that, I just really want to comment on how great this book is. You know, just how Assata structured the autobiography, how she goes from, you know, speaking on her personal life, then going back to, you know, speaking about, you know, being imprisoned and things of that nature. And I just think it makes for a really, really good read. I enjoy reading it very much, as I'm sure you all do. Okay, so chapter 4. Chapter 4, Assata basically, you know, really goes into her childhood, you know, just growing up through middle school. And this was kind of not necessarily heartbreaking because, you know, we experience contradictions, you know, as colonized individuals. And the way she did this young brother Joe in chapter 4, it was just like really, damn, Assata, like I felt that in my chest just reading it. But anyway, she talks about, you know, middle school and, you know, just how, you know, the black kids, African kids would just speak about their ideal boyfriend or girlfriend, how they would look, how they would want them to look. And, you know, pretty much light skin, light eyes, brown eyes, and just, you know, different things of that nature. You know, the standards of beauty that has been forced upon us by white power. And so speaking of this brother Joe, who seemed like a very sweet person, you know, in the chapter, and she speaks about how he would leave flowers on her windowsill. You know, he was the only one who, and she even says how he was the only one during this time, during middle school, who would actually took some interest into her and just was telling her how beautiful she was. Every time that he would see her, he would just compliment her on her beauty. So one day, I guess Mr. Joe, you know, grew some balls and decided that he wanted to, you know, ask Assata out. And, you know, it's just, even me sitting here laughing, you know, talking about it, I mean, honestly, on a serious tip, that just goes to show you how internalized, you know, it is for us to basically practice, well, not practice, but, you know, it's a display of the self-hatred that we have internalized. And, you know, just my reaction to reading it and, you know, having this, you know, lighthearted, what could you say, like, reaction to it, I guess. It just shows, you know, how normalized it has become for, you know, black people, for African people to, you know, talk about ourselves in derogatory ways and just be fine with it, be okay with it. And, you know, it's really not. But shit, we face so much stuff, you gotta laugh to keep from crying sometimes. Or you could join a revolutionary organization like Black Hammer. So let's read, I'm gonna read the part that, where she, basically just shitted all on this man, y'all. It was terrible. Will you go with me? I want you to be my girl. So this is Joe asking her out. Somehow I was shocked. Did he really think I would go with him and ruin my reputation forever? No, I answered. No, he repeated. Why not? I didn't know what to say. My tongue became heavy and twisted. I started to stutter. Nothing came out of my mouth. Why not? He asked again. I stammered and stuttered, and then, with icy bluntness, I said, because you're too black and ugly. I will never forget the look on his face. He looked at me with such cold hatred that I was stunned. I was instantly sorry for what I had said, but there was no taking it back. He looked at me as if he despised me more than anyone on the face of the earth. I felt so ugly and dirty and depraved. I was shaken to the bone. For weeks, maybe months afterwards, I was haunted by what happened that day, by the snakes that had crawled out of my mouth. The snaring hatred on his face every time I saw him after that made me know there was nothing I could do to make it up to him. Yeah, that's some serious shit right there. If I was Joe and I had some sisters, they probably would have been coming after Miss Assata. You know what I'm saying? But just back to my my earlier point about, this internalized hatred that we have as African and colonized people. And I can even remember, being younger and dreaming up what my soulmate might look like, or, and it's just tall, light skin, green or light brown eyes, pretty teeth, and just all of these different ideas, again, that have been placed into our heads by white power. And another thing she does in this chapter, of course she sums this up, and we don't have to get into all of that, but yeah, we just have to realize how normalized, self-hatred has become, within the African nation, within the black community. And that's something that we have to continuously, fight against. What also stood out in this chapter is how Assata speaks about her stepdad and her mom, like splitting up. And she sums it up, by saying that you have this African couple, this African man and this African woman, who are basically working their asses off each and every single day, as we've seen our parents, our friends' parents, how African people do, fighting every day to live in colonialism. And she just speaks about how, how black people, we try to model our relationships after the oppressor. And, for the past 600 years, the example that our oppressors have set, that's the only thing that we have known. So you have a black man, African man, who would come home to his wife, who probably just got off of a 9-hour, 10-hour shift at work, and he wants to know why his dinner isn't made, because he can turn on his television and see some white man who's bringing home all of the bacon, got his new damn Cadillac and all of that other shit, and he wants to know why can't he have that. And reality, in present reality, the reality that we live in as colonized individuals, that's not how it works for African people. Because, bitch, you come home, I come home after work, and you asking me where your dinner at, I'm going to ask you, where's my dinner? So, yeah, she speaks about that, and she speaks about the first time she ran away. Now, this was very funny to read. She runs away to her aunt's house, Evelyn, who is later, as we see in the book, she's actually defending her as her attorney or whatever. But she speaks about how she first ran away and she was sleeping on her steps, of Evelyn's steps or whatever, and just how it was so exciting and exhilarating, as she described it, to just go walk around with this big ass suitcase that she was just wheeling around, seeing drunk people, being able to, see the hustlers on the corner, doing what they do and all of that good stuff. So now it's time for hashtag read that back. And My hashtag read that back portion of chapter 4 was when she spoke about how she ran away to this little black girl's house by the name of Tina or whatever, and she just spoke about how Tina's mom was so open to her staying there. You know, like she came there, she gave her food. Oh, Black Power, thank you Kevra Onyx for your donation, Black Power. So she was just speaking about how, you know, welcoming Tina's mom was or whatever. And so hashtag read that back. Tina's mom, stone cold working class mom, okay? And this is how you know she was stone working class mom. So she says, she must have seen me staring at her too, because she told me. And well, wait, before I read that part. Now, Tina and her mama, they were some boosters, okay? If you know what a booster is, you know what a booster is. So basically, you go up to the store and you take stuff. You boost it. You boost clothes, you boost food, you do whatever. You boost whatever you can go back and sell in the community. So hashtag read that back. This is when Tina's mom just makes it plain and makes it known, hey, we got to do what we got to do. So she says, she must have seen me staring at her too, because she told me, that's right, I steal and my kids steal too. They're trying to take my house from me. They're trying to take everything I got. I got to survive by the best way I know how. But it ain't really stealing. It's just a discount. You need a discount. High as these stores is, we call it the 5-finger discount. She started laughing. But I mean, like, that part, you know, this portion of the chapter was just, you know, so, well, not necessarily touching, but I mean, just another reminder, for lack of a better term, of, you know, what we have to go through as African people, as Black people, you know, every single day. Here it is, this mom, and I'm surprisingly she doesn't give her name, or does she? Let's see. I don't think she did, because I don't remember reading it. But you know, just I grew up in the hood where moms would go into Walmart with sweatpants on, backpacks, you know, different things to hide packs of meat in, groceries, and all of these different kind of things, you know, as the sister is saying in this book, just to survive. And I know we're reading it in a book, but, you know, this is an autobiography which pertains to real events, real life events. And just because it's in a book doesn't mean that it's not happening currently right now. And, you know, again, this just is a reminder of what it is for African people, for colonized people to live under white power, to live under oppression, to have to worry about if our house is getting taken, to have to worry about how we're going to feed our kids, how we're going to clothe them, how we're going to house them. So, yeah, that was my hashtag read that back part for chapter 4. And I see I got some comments here, so let's see what's going on. All right, so from Comrade Naya, hashtag read that back. Let's see. She says, on page 73, she talked about Black relationships and how it's a miracle if they work out because of all the obstacles. Uh-oh. Another comment popped up, I'm sorry. And how it's a miracle if they work out because of all the obstacles against them, like money and the way they're brought up to think of ourselves. So true, Comrade Naya. All right, we have another hashtag read that back from Comrade Valencia, who says, I was thinking that ain't nothing but reparations. Exactly. I knew a whole family of boosters in the hood where I grew up, period. When I was younger, and hell, even sometimes today, if I'm in Walmart, and you know, if I need a little something, I'm gonna just leave that right there. But I wanted to say something else to the point that Comrade, you know, Naya just stated, and I can't, dang, I just lost my train of thought that quick. But, Black Power, Matthew, right, Comrade Robert. That's why I said I'm gonna just leave that right there. Oh, that's what I wanted to say, about how African and colonized people, we enter into these couples, based on being able to survive. And you see that a lot when you see, sisters saying, I ain't fucking with no broke nigga. And you even see it with brothers who say, I ain't fucking with no broke bitch. And then we have these trumped up ideas of what love between two colonized people is supposed to look like, but we can't even really get to that because we're too focused on trying to see what the other person has to say, if I'm going to be with this person, am I going to be able to survive? Am I going to be able to provide for myself? And I know, listen, I can go on and on, okay? But before I go on to chapter 5, I just wanted to remind everyone to please donate. My birthday was this past Thursday, but y'all, I'm not telling y'all my age. So if you want to, just in honor of my birthday, please go and donate. You can donate through CashApp at BHBookclub. You can also donate at blackhammer.org. And you can also donate at gofundme.com/blackhammer.org. And also, I don't know how I could start without even saying this. Become a member of Black Hammer. Become a member of Black Hammer. All right, so chapter 5. In chapter 5, she goes back, to speaking about her experience in prison or whatever. And she talks about how she's been moved around and, of course, these pigs not giving her no type of information. I believe she says that she asked them, where she being moved to now, and they just was like, the U.S. government has you now. And at this point, when she's moving around, the 2 indictments for the robbery that they said that she committed in New York is still going on. So let's ponder this, comrades. So right now, what they have been able to arrest her for is this incident that happened on the New Jersey Turnpike. Now, at this same time, she is still facing all of these different charges that, that the FBI has trumped up against her, that the U.S. government has trumped up to get her. And the only reason that they have access to her now is because, again, what happened on the New Jersey Turnpike. So it's just, so she talks about that. And she talks about being moved to Rikers Island or whatever. And if you've been studying Assata Shakur, a lot of the times that she was locked up, they had her in solitary confinement. So after 6 months of being in solitary confinement, she was forgetting how to talk, how to relate to other people. And as you can understand, being in solitary, well, I've never been in, but let's see. I guess being under punishment, when you're younger and your mama send you in that room and you can't come out. I mean, that's what I almost want to compare it to. But then again, you can't even really compare it to that. You just can't. But being in solitary confinement, not being able to, articulate, coherent sentences and things of that nature. And then we have to understand that this is a tactic of the state, of the court, to keep the lights on, had her in a room with the lights on, all different types of hours, making noise, just so she couldn't, concentrate and focus on what the fuck was happening to her. And as you can see in chapter 5, when you read on, that this judge, this pig, Gagliardi, however the fuck you pronounce that shit. I don't even give a fuck how to pronounce it. But anyway, how they're trying to railroad her and comrade, I thought I wrote the name down. Where is it? Give me just a second. Kamua. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that name wrong. I probably am. But so she speaks about the proceedings that's taking place, you know, while she's at Rikers, and even at one point in time, she gets sick with pulmonaceria. That's my only attempt that I'm going to make at trying to pronounce this damn word. But just to give you an idea of how, you know, like how they were trying to just really just expedite, you know, the execution of Sister Assata. Like, she was sick with this illness, and the judge sent her to, what do you call it? Like the clinic in the prison, I guess, to make her get better just so they can go ahead and, you know, get her locked away. And she even speaks about how Evelyn, who is her aunt and her attorney at the moment, who at one point in time, she just walks out of the courtroom because of all of the bullshit that they are putting Assata and brother I'm gonna say brother Cam through. And she walks out of court. Now, mind you, this court hearing or whatever that they have that she's going through right now, I believe this is taking place in like let's see here, in 1972. So this is when the proceedings are taking place. Do you know that when Evelyn walked out, she had to spend 10 days in a maximum security prison in 1975 for walking out of the court proceedings in 1972. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. So she talks about that, and even they got to a point where her and Sister Evelyn fell out, and Assata decided that she wanted to defend herself. So that's basically what happened in chapter 5, and the hashtag read that back part for me of chapter 5, and which was really when I read it, it was just like I had to reflect upon it, you know, because I've always stated that I wanted to have children. And becoming a revolutionary and becoming politically aware, you know, of just everything that we go through as African people, as Black people, and you know, colonized people. I mean, it's not necessarily a matter of being able to have children, but it's just, do you want to have children? You know, as a colonized person, as, you know, someone who lives under the boot of white power. And y'all, I found my I'm not gonna bring it on camera, but I found my old diary or whatever, my old journal, and, you know, I was able to read it, you know, being home this time, and just all of the different things that I would write about, you know, like my future, like how many children that, you know, I wanted to have. Would they be boys? Would they be girls? What would I name them? And now you're just faced with the question, should I bring another human being into this world, you know, in the state that it's in now, while capitalism still exists, while colonialism still exists. And just reading this portion of the book, I was really confronted with that. And then to think that, you know, my oldest brother just had a baby, like, not even maybe 3 weeks ago. Her name is Corey, and I was able to see her for the first time yesterday. And even just holding her and visiting with her, that was just, you know, really replaying in my mind, like, over and over again. And it's just like, if I bring a child into this world, that child does not even belong to me. If I bring a child into this world, you know, they're already, you know, guilty of so many things that, you know, white power has said that they're guilty of. And just like, as this sister was saying in chapter 4, I have to steal. You know, they're gonna take my house. Damn. How white families can just, you know, decide they want to have 5 to 6 fucking children. And, you know, African parents can't even barely take care of one child. I'm sorry, y'all. Just give me 1 second. I didn't even fuck. So hashtag read that back. Hold on, let me get my tissue real quick, y'all. Damn. All right. So what was also interesting, you know, and great to read about this chapter is that Sister Assata and Brother Cam, you know, they was feeling each other. And they got to the point, you know, about speaking about having children and things of that nature. And so hashtag read that back. This was my hashtag read that back part of chapter 5. So she says, talking to Camu was so good for me. Solitary had affected me really badly. I had closed up inside myself and had forgotten how to relate in an open way with people. We spent whole days laughing and talking and listening to the courtroom madness in between. Each day we grew closer until one day it was clear to both of us that our relationship was changing. It was growing physical. I mean, and I guess that's kind of open to interpretation because, child... Physical was y'all, was they getting it on in this little room or wherever they was meeting at. But anyway, we began to touch and to hold each other, and each of us was like an oasis for the other. For a few days, the question of sex was there. Then one day we talked about it. Surely it was possible. I thought the consequences. Pregnancy was certainly a possibility. I was facing life in prison. Brother Cam would also be in prison for a long time. The child would have no mother and no father. Camus said, if you became pregnant and you have a child, the child will be taken care of. Our people will not let the child grow up like a weed. I thought about it. That was true, but the child would suffer. All of our children suffer, Brother Cam said. And I'm going to stop right there because at this point, when Brother Camel, and you will see as I read on, you know, he just speaks about, let's see, what does he say? All children suffer. Brother Cam said, we can't guarantee our children a future in a world like this. Struggling is the only guarantee our children will have for a future. You may never have another chance to have a child. And that right, with him saying that right there, it, you know, just understanding our reality. But even still, it's just like having a child as a revolutionary, it gives you that fight, you know, to want to fight against colonialism, to want to fight against our oppression. But, you know, just the suffering that, you know, our children face under white power. So, I have to think, I told him, my mind was screaming, who would take care of my baby? I thought about what Simba has said about our children being our hope for the future. I had never wanted a child. Since I was a teenager, I had always said that the world was too horrible to bring another human being into, and a black child. We see our children frustrated at best, noses pressed against windows looking in. And at worst, we see them die from drugs or oppression, shot down by the police, or wasted away in jail. My head was swimming. What had my mother and my grandmother and my great-grandmother thought when they brought their babies into this world? What had my ancestors thought when they brought their babies into this world? Only to see them... Fuck. Damn, girl, is my period on right now? What the hell is really going on, y'all? Damn. I'm sorry, comrades. Only to see them flogged, raped, bought, and sold. I thought and I thought, how many black children are separated from their parents? How many grow up with their parents? How many grow up with their grandmothers and grandfathers? Didn't I stay with my grandparents until my mother had finished school and was on her feet? I remember all the discussions I had had. I'm a revolutionary, I had said. I don't have time to sit at home and make no babies. So, yeah, that was my hashtag read that back part for the for chapter 5. So, I just want to remind all of our viewers that we are... Oh, shit, I got tissue in my eye, y'all. Is it gone? Okay, I got it. We are doing the book giveaway. And so, like I laid out in the beginning of today's session, that I'm going to be putting out 3 questions over the course of the next, well, today and then the next 2 sessions that we have. I'll be giving the other 2 questions, of course. But the first question that you have to answer, well, one of the first questions that you have to answer in order to be in, I guess, for the drawing of the book. And I'm going to ask the question again right now. So, on December 11th, 1978, attorney Lennox Hines, on behalf of the National Conference of Black Lawyers, the National Alliance Against Racism, and the Commission for Racial Justice of the United Church of Christ, sent a petition to the United Nations Commission on Human Rights, alleging a consistent pattern of gross violations of human rights and their fundamental freedoms of certain classes of prisoners in the United States because of their race, economic status, and political beliefs. So what you have to answer is, what are the dates did the 7 international jurors visit the prisoners? You know, I guess to evaluate our oppression, you know. So what are the dates? You can send your answer to blackhammerorg@gmail.com. And stay tuned for the next 2 questions. And you have also had to donate it to Black Hammer. So while I'm on that part right there, you can donate through Cash App at Black Hammer Book Club, well as BH Book Club. You can go to blackhammer.org, and you can go to gofundme.com/blackhammerorg. So donate what you can. And I also want to send another thank you to Brother Kiever, who donated this morning as well too. So all right, y'all, we're going to go ahead and move on to chapter 6, which was one of the best chapters that I believe we came across, that I've came across so far, or whatever. But before I go, does anybody go on to chapter 6, does anybody have a portion of chapter 5, hashtag read that back, or any points of discussion or whatever? So hold on, let's see. I'm gonna read some of these comments real quick. We have Comrade Naya, who says, and have the gall to police people about having the ability to provide for our children. Yes, Comrade Naya. Yes, we do this for our babies. Right on, Black Power. Black Power, Comrade Robert. Let's see. Sister Naya says, Cam is a political prisoner in Georgia, I believe. Oh, we need to get his information so we can share it on here, and we can write him. Let's see what Comrade Gigi said. Come on, y'all. Comrade Gigi says, even us revolutionaries without babies want to be the best for them. Protect them at all costs. This is why 2 of the biggest Black Hammer campaign we have now are for little C-Note, 12-year-old rapper facing criminal charges for being a kid, and hashtag protect our girls, 2 beautiful girls who are being sent by the state back to their abusers. That's right, Comrade Gigi. Black Power. So, moving on to chapter 6, I thoroughly enjoyed reading this chapter, and again, Sister Assata speaks about the split of her parents, and excuse me, how her mom moved to Jamaica. I ain't from New York. I know some people from New York, but is it Jamaica, Queens, or whatever? I'm not sure what the name of it is or whatever. But she speaks about being in Jamaica and just all of the Black people that she was surrounded by, at this moment in time. And she speaks about running away again. And, just at this point with her stepfather and her mother's, separating or whatever, just how she was just going through her own, changes, I guess, through life, puberty, if that's what you want to call it, just her being, inquisitive about everything, questioning everything, and just rebelling, against her mom and, different things of that nature. And here it is. She's carrying her suitcase all around and all of that good stuff. So at this point, Assata is 13. So I want y'all to keep that, just locked up here, as we discuss this chapter. So she speaks about going out and how running away, I guess. And she meets this white man at this bar, and he's just speaking to her about all of this crazy shit. And, again, at the age of 13, she's just listening, just to listen, because she understands that she has to get a place to stay because she ran away from home. So he invites her, he takes her back to his place or whatever, and she's spending the night. And at one point in time, she gets up during the night to get a drink of water, and this cracker starts flipping on her, talking about are you a nigga spy? They sent you to spy on me, and all this other type of stuff like that. So, of course, she leaves there, and she's back on the street. So, she speaks about how she meets this, she goes to this hotel well, no. Even before that, after she runs away from the white guy that she was staying with, she speaks about how she goes to work at this cafe that's ran by this big white, sloppy, disgusting pig of a man that she was describing or whatever. And while she's working there, he's groping on her, feeling on her, even putting his finger in the lining of her panties and just, really violating her. And so she quits, but they don't want to give her her money before she goes, and she's like, I'll call the cops on you and all this other type of stuff like that. And then she threatens the man to tell the other employees, what he was doing to her, in terms of just like pretty much molesting little young Assata as she's working at this restaurant. So after he makes that threat, after she makes that threat, they pay her and she goes. But she goes to, she finds a hotel. So she's staying, little old 13 Assata with her suitcase. Just imagine her walking around Greenwich Village, just walking around, just being Assata. So she finds this hotel. And as she's staying in this hotel, she comes down and she comes across this sister by the name of Miss Shirley. So I want to read how she describes Shirley when she first meets her. What does she say? Dang, I can't find it. Okay, she said, I had enough money together to rent a cheap hotel. I got my suitcase and checked into a hotel. I think it was the Hotel Albert. After I had hung up my clothes and taken a shower, I decided to go get something to eat. Downstairs in the lobby, there was this big, tall, black woman dressed to kill. She had black hair with silver streaks running through it, long false eyelashes, and a lot of makeup. So as we learn later on in the chapter, she says that Miss Shirley is a man. I'm not sure at this point. She doesn't elaborate on it, but if Miss Shirley was transitioning or not, but she does say that Shirley is a man or whatever. But just being able to see how Assata speaks of Miss Shirley with so much respect in this chapter, it was just really, heartwarming to me, to read that. And I don't know, at that point, black people, were struggling with, just the contradictions of being, well, not necessarily being, but how to interact with, same gender loving people. And even though Assata wasn't a revolutionary then, but to read about the interaction that she was having with Miss Shirley, that was really endearing to me, and how Miss Shirley was, so protecting of Assata at this point. And this is in like the 1970s, where you can imagine, the height of the AIDS epidemic, and just all of the different shit that, same gender loving African people were facing at that time. And, just to be in this day and time and having, television shows like Pose and, people, African people being able to, find out about the ballroom scene and, the houses and gay mothers and gay parents. And I almost want to say that, Miss Shirley was almost like a mother, and she even says mother, in the chapter. And, just how Miss Shirley was so protecting of her, that was really touching to me. So she also speaks about in this chapter of how she was a barmaid at this bar. 13-year-old little Assata, and if you don't know what a barmaid is, It's pretty much when you go into a bar, and I'm not sure if they do this anymore, but it's supposed to bring like patrons into the bar or whatever. So you have these pretty women who come just sit up at the bar, and you know, men approach them and they buy drinks or whatever, and so you pretty much you're able to make money. Like if say a guy buys a beer at the bar for like maybe $12, the bar gets $6, and then you get the $6 or whatever. So she speaks about that, and then she speaks about how she met this guy at the bar. Well, not necessarily at the bar, but outside the bar. And so he pretty much takes her back to his place. Black Power Comrade Naya, thank you for your donation. He takes her back to his place, and basically he brings all of his friends over at this point in time, and they try to rape little 13-year-old Assata. And they're in his mom's place. So it's not funny, but it's just, I mean, it just made, fuck, colonialism. It's not funny, but how she defended herself is she started breaking up all of his mama's shit. So she started throwing vases and everything, you know, just to be able to get out of there. And you know, it was just, yeah, it was really terrible. So hashtag read that back. Oh my gosh. Okay, hashtag read that back. So my portion of chapter chapter 6, that hashtag read that back again was with Miss Shirley, and she says, yeah, put y'all hashtag read that back part in here, because I feel like I'm rambling, so I want y'all to be able to participate in this discussion as well too. So hashtag read that back. And this is just a conversation that Miss Shirley is having with Assata. Let's see. Okay, we split up the money. We had made $45. I rushed back to the hotel. Oh, hold on. Before I read my hashtag read that back part, she also speaks about in this chapter how, you know, a lot of the girls who were working at the bar with Assata was, you know, prostitutes. Well, sex workers, you know, doing what they gotta do to survive. No shade. But she speaks about how she ran into this brother and this sister, and pretty much you could say that the brother was a pimp, because that's what it was. So what they would do is go out, you know, in the village and find these white men or whatever, and, you know, talk to them, pretty much leading them on to think that, you know, they was going to turn some tricks or whatever. So what they would do is take the men to these different abandoned buildings, and they would take the money first though, and then Assata would go up into the building, and then she says that they were able to go into the building and go through some trapdoor or something like that. I'm just speaking from memory. And they would just take the money and then split it. Little Assata was a gangster, y'all. She was a gangster, but hashtag read that back. We split up the money. We had made $45. I rushed back to the hotel. Miss Shirley was there, and we went up to her room for a drink. Little 13-year-old Assata, y'all. I felt like a millionaire. I had the money I had made working in the cafe plus the $45. I whipped out my bankroll and paid Miss Shirley back. Now, girl, I know you ain't got no rich uncle. How did you get all that money? I told her everything. I thought I was so slick. Girl, is you crazy? Do you know what one of these men will do to you if they find you in the street? Girl, these people out here in this street don't give a damn about you. This street will eat your ass alive. Honey, I know what I'm talking about. You done ran away, ain't you? Yeah, I told her I ran away. I knew it all the time. Well, honey, I can't make you go home. If I tried, you'd only run away again. But you're wasting your time and you're wasting your life out here. These people don't care nothing about you. All they want to do is suck your blood. You're a smart girl. What you need to do is go home and finish school. I'm never going home. Well, if you insist on staying out here in these streets, you better start acting like you got some sense. Don't you never let nobody use you and make a fool out of you. What if one of those men had been a crazy man and followed you upstairs? What if the other door had been locked and you hadn't been able to get out? Where is your so-called protection? You mean to tell me that you gonna risk your life for $15, girl? This village ain't nothing to play around with. They got some crazy men around here. Miss Shirley from Georgia, y'all. They got some crazy men around here that is killing up young girls like you, and one of them cuts their titties off. Girl, as far as I can see, that young boy Ronnie don't want to be nothing but a pimp. He ain't done one thing to earn that money. You better start to use your head. I could see Miss Shirley knew what she was talking about. But what am I going to do, Miss Shirley? You know how hard it is to find a job? Don't worry, honey. I'll come up with something. So hashtag read that back. And even though it's just, a conversation that Sister Shirley is having with little Assata, at this moment. And even later on in the chapter, we find out that, Miss Shirley is, a sex worker as well. And, just for her to, try to impart, this wisdom into little Assata, and just, her herself having to go out on the streets and, sex work, participate in sex work, to survive. And just even, at this day and time, just understanding how we're seeing so many of our African trans sisters just being murdered. And if I'm not mistaken, I think I read up to 14 black trans and colonized women have been murdered this year. But, just to be able to read this conversation that Sister Miss Shirley was having with Comrade Assata, and just, again, how she was, trying to encourage Assata to go home and, to go back to school and, do all of these other things. But then in the back of her mind, she is struggling to survive herself. And it's almost, this thing that we see with, our black parents, even our aunts and our uncles, grandparents, who basically have to, who act as a shield towards us, to, even though they don't understand it as colonialism, at that time or even now, but just what they're trying to shield us from, what they're trying to protect us from. And, just to see Sister Miss Shirley, to take little Assata under her wing like that and to protect her like that, that was just, really endearing for me. So do we have any hashtag read that back parts that you guys want to discuss? Please put them in the comments. And it was another portion of chapter 6 that stood out to me. And it's I'm gonna read it. It's the last portion of the chapter, where it says, this is when Comrade Assata, she runs into somebody who she knows out on the streets. And of course, this person goes back and calls her Aunt Evelyn. So she says, "Where have you been? What have you been doing? Where have you been staying? What have you been doing for money? How have you been eating?" she asked, a million questions more. When Evelyn questioned me, she sounded like a lawyer cross-examining a witness. In about an hour, I had broken down and told her everything. She demanded that I take her to the hotel where I was staying. After I had packed my things, she told the guy behind the desk, "Do you know that you've had a 13-year-old girl staying here? I could have you prosecuted for contributing to the delinquency of a minor." The guy looked at me like he just couldn't believe it. I could have crawled under the floor. Then she called up Tony's and told him the same thing. I was dying of embarrassment, but in a way I was glad it was over. I was getting tired of the streets. I was tired of being grown, and I wanted to be a kid again. And just that, that last line, where she says, I was tired of being grown, and I wanted to be a kid again. And it just made me question, at that point, and at that point of reading is, just do African children, do black children, do colonized children even have, the luxury of actually being a child, of actually experiencing a childhood? And I'm gonna leave that right there. Yeah, so that was chapters 4 through 6. So of course, for our next session on next Sunday at 11, we'll be doing chapters 7 through 9. So please make sure y'all read up. Come back with your hashtag read that back part so we can have a discussion. I really didn't think that today would be that heavy, but that just to speak of the reality that African people are faced with, in terms of being able to have children, to want to bring children, into this world. And so yeah. I'm mad y'all let me ugly cry on camera, but it's okay. I'm probably gonna delete this after. But please make sure you donate. Again, you can donate through CashApp at BHBookclub. You can donate at blackhammer.org, and you can also donate at GoFundMe.com / blackhammer.org. And just to let you guys know, we are raising monies for the book club so we can purchase this lighting, that ring light thingy, that people pretty much, I think it's like a lot of people use it to do makeup. And then they also have this, but this one in particular has a phone holder or whatever. It can hold your phone, So just so I can look more professional for y'all, and just make this thing really pop so we can get, this political education out to the masses. But again, for this session, I really enjoyed reading chapter 6. That was my favorite chapter so far of the autobiography. So meet me back here again, y'all, on Sunday at 11 o'clock. But please make sure, I think you can put on your notifications to let, for Black Hammer, to let you guys know when we're going live. Just not only for the book club, but anytime that Black Hammer goes live. So make sure you put your notifications on so you can get this political education. So next week we're gonna have the next question that I'm going to ask. So if you want, you're going to get Assata, and it's going to a copy of Assata, an autobiography, and I'm gonna sign it for you. So you have to answer the 3 questions, and you have had to donate at least once. So I'll put out the first question today, and we got 2 more questions to go. So again, you can email your answer to blackhammerorg@gmail.com. And so the question was, what are the dates that the International Jurist of the United Nations Commission for Peace, Justice, or some white leftist ass bullshit? What dates did they visit the what dates did they visit the prisoners here in America to assess the bullshit? All right, so y'all enjoy the rest of your Sunday. get out, do something, go walking, or read some more of Assata. And also, if you've been watching and you don't have if you don't have access to Assata and Autobiography, we got you. We got you. We got you with the free PDF file. All you have to do is hit us up on any of our social media. You can leave a comment here, and my comrades Gigi or Robert will follow up with you to get you the copy of the PDF. So yeah, Black Power.